we'll go into shock here and not be able to speak tonight. Okay, are you on? Okay, we'll call this meeting for the library board at 4 on January 13th. And we need to, we have a, not on?
There you go.
Okay. We have a full board today. It's good to have everybody here. Maylee's here with us again, and we missed those of you that were gone last month. And anyway, first on our agenda are the library board minutes for December the 9th. And was it the 9th or the 11th?
My brain is not working right now.
Well, on our minutes, it says the 11th, and on our agenda, it says the 9th. So I don't have my calendar.
I believe it was the 11th.
Oh, so it must have been the 9th.
I was confused, I think, because city council was on the 11th.
Oh, okay.
I was typing everything up at the same time.
Okay, so the board, so it is actually on the minutes, it is actually the 9th. Is that correct? Okay. All right. So we need approval of those minutes if you've had time to read them.
Now, how do you operate this thing?
It's on. We just left it on for you. So just leave it on.
So don't touch anything.
Okay,
Dawn.
fine. Well, I would make a motion to approve the library board minutes of December the 9th, 2021.
I second.
Okay. Been moved to approve the minutes of the library board for December the 9th, 2021. And we have a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is approved.
I'd like to make a comment relative to those minutes, and that is that I've really been impressed with the quality of the minutes that we've been getting. They are very accurate and very detailed. And I have served on a lot of boards and a lot of committees, and I don't believe that they have been any more accurate and precise than what these are. And I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make another comment about minutes since we're on the topic, and I would like to say something very different from what Dawn said. So my experience with minutes, and I didn't realize, Ligia, you're the minute person now. Megan, you are. Oh, okay. So I don't think that we need this much detail. I think we need topics. And this comes from my background, so we're each speaking about that. We need discussion points. We need some indicators of the discussion, but then what the outcome was, and is there a stakeholder in the outcome, and is there a timeline? Megan, I know your time is very valuable, and I don't know how long it took you to write this up, but I would guess that you have a lot of other things you could do besides being this detailed. I don't need this kind of detail. And my experience with my own work history is not to have minutes look like this. And I'd be happy to talk to you about that some other time, depending on how we as a group maybe come to a consensus about what we would like to see.
I am absolutely fine either way. I get the transcript after the meetings, so it just takes about an hour for this anyway. And my experience writing the other type takes maybe about 2/3 of that time because you have to find the highlights. So the time is not a thing for me either way.
Okay.
But I want to give you guys what you want to read.
Yeah.
So I'm fine, whatever you guys decide.
Okay. If the majority wants the detail, I'm happy to go with that, and it's not a burden on your time. I just put in another mode of note taking.
Well, I'll stick my 2 cents in, basically because of my background in doing minutes for the Planning Commission for 10 years. And there is nothing legal or anything that requires that you do this.
Yeah.
And basically hit topics. If there is a discussion, you can just highlight. I'm a great fan of bullet lists.
So am I.
Something that's quick and easy for you, quick and easy for us to read. Certainly detail is always nice, but the only time that you really need this much detail, I'm sort of surprised here, Megan, to be honest, because I've done planning commission minutes that were many more pages than this, and basically hit the highlights, bullet list it, make it easy, be
Yeah.
done, do it in 10 minutes instead of an hour. I'm fine with that. I appreciate this. I please don't misunderstand.
No, this last one was a 50-page transcript, so
Yeah, it was a long one. Yeah, but
that's the only reason it took that long.
yeah.
Well, I disagree
Well,
because
you're wrong, Don.
I like the detail on it from the standpoint that I have an opportunity to later on review exactly where we were coming from,
Mhm.
what the concerns were,
Mhm.
and those type of things.
Mhm.
And you don't, I am sorry, Arlene, but you don't get that with the point
Yeah.
type thing on it.
I think it's a matter of personal preference. I like the detail. I always like to think about, and this is just me, my concern whenever I was doing minutes, my thought was, okay, that was a difficult subject. So if someone comes back in 10 years and they were discussing this, whatever that might be, I want to make sure that the information is in there, why that decision was made. Because you're not always doing the minutes just for this month. You're maybe doing minutes for 10, 15, 20 years from now, because those have to be kept. And
For 7.
yeah. So that's my main concern, is making sure that things that are really, really important, like the fine, we decided to not have fines anymore. So somewhere we want to find in minutes how we came to that. What was the discussion and how did we come to that decision? So minutes are kind of a personal, not necessarily personal, but that boards, however they want that done. You're certainly going to do things differently for the library board than the planning commission would do, or city council would do. But I do know trying to backtrack and find out why some decision was made in 1975, and you go back and they decided this. Well, why did they decide that? And if you can't find a record of that, then it becomes a really problematic. But that's my feeling on it. I do like, and I don't disagree with you, Don, about it's nice to have it, but I don't know that it needs to be that detailed.
Yeah, it's up to you as the board for you guys to decide how you would like it.
Okay. Well, what about you, Jamie? We haven't heard from you.
I was just thinking maybe there's some kind of happy medium that could be found
sure.
between.
Sure.
I do think with it this long, it does become hard to find information if you're trying to find it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe having more subject headings with a little bit less detail would be a good sort of happy medium.
It sounds like some of us are of the same mind, except for Dawn.
Pardon me?
So it sounds like 3 of us over here are sort of the same mind. We're willing to compromise. So I'm wondering if Megan, if you work with Dawn to come up with something that's not as long but is also satisfactory for you. I mean, I don't know that we need to belabor this really, but
Well, I don't have a problem with going. I have a hard time with this, but compromising on it. But I would certainly be willing to sit down and discuss that with whoever.
That's fine. I can also just do a slightly different happy medium version for the next one. You guys see how that goes?
So next month,
Yeah.
We'll
It should be a
get
much
there.
shorter meeting today anyway, so.
Okay, let's just do that. Is that all right?
thank you.
Sure.
Okay, on to the agenda. Report of the librarian.
Okay, more of me talking. Fine Free continues to go well. I'll put it on the agenda for the February meeting that we'll discuss if we want to continue that or not. I will say that Lebanon has been in contact with me for information of how they can also do a trial of being fine free. So they're also thinking of going that way. And it's actually helping their library board really want to do the change because we are. Even if it is just a trial currently. I proposed the changes to the library policy manual that we talked about at the last meeting that was proposed to City Council on Tuesday night, and they approved it. So starting tomorrow, we're going to announce that the biggest part of it, which was that kids can now start getting a library card at age 5.
Okay.
We're going to put that out starting tomorrow. And Legia was talking about doing a special oversized library card that they could maybe hold up. But that'll probably be a couple weeks to get that ready to go. But I don't expect there to be a huge rush of kids showing up at noon tomorrow. Our circulation numbers that you'll see from the stats that I can go over more in depth later, but they did go up for December over what the November numbers were. For both the print and the electronic checkouts. I did start including the numbers for the number of electronic books and electronic audiobooks that we are checking out every month. The new business, we did, Julie did get an application for a new library board member. I'm not sure when they've set the meetings to interview that person, but I know that's coming up soon. Joy and I are starting to plan for summer reading 2022. This year's theme is Beyond the Beaten Path. That is basically, they're talking about, more campfire related, getting out of the house, getting out of the buildings, and just being outside type of theme. So, and then national parks and state parks and all that are kind of like, go out to your parks, go outside, do happy things. So we're going to go with that theme and then come up with some great ideas. We're thinking about doing some sort of scavenger hunt that you would be visiting businesses that are downtown. We're not sure exactly what yet, but we're coming up with ideas for that. And then some art in the park type of events that are either art or music related. The collection updates. Staff are continuing to be busy with various projects, refreshing everything. We're still working on adding the games and puzzles. We did on Tuesday, we got all of the puzzles added and they're ready for checkout. We're a little bit delayed in doing this. I wanted to get it done before Christmas, but with some staff illnesses and some vacation time, we're just a little bit behind, which is fine. But we had 5 games out. They've been out for about a week and a half, and 4 of them have already checked out at least once.
Excuse me, Megan.
Yeah.
Puzzles. Is it jigsaw puzzles or other kinds of puzzles?
Mostly jigsaw puzzles for all ages. We have like a baby shark puzzle that has 24 pieces that are fairly big.
Fun.
Up to what's the fanciest one? The fanciest one is like a map of the world made out of flowers, like on a back black background.
Wow.
It's like 1,000 pieces.
Whoa.
So there's variety in between all of that.
Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. We finished weeding the kids' nonfiction books. We're still getting some new books in and adding them as we have time. We weeded the science fiction fantasy collection, ordered some new titles, and filled out some popular series that were missing a few volumes of. Added some new authors, especially focusing on Indigenous authors and authors of color. And we've had one of our huge sci-fi fans has been in and is very excited about some of the new authors that we're getting. We're working on weeding the adult fiction collection, replacing ones that need to be replaced, and again, just filling out series. Continuing to order new items. Keep saying that, and I know the mail delivery guy quite well. He came by 3 times today.
Oh.
Not sure why, but I've been highlighting individual titles on Facebook. Just getting a picture of the book and giving a little 3-sentence description about it. And I did have somebody come in and say, I just saw this book on Facebook. Do you still have it in? So I think that's good. People are actually reading it. Building issues. Unless there's any questions about the collections. Our biggest problem with the building this last month has been, since it's been so cold out, the heating is so different in different parts of the building. Even though it's not that big of a building, it feels like a huge difference between different spots. Our thermostat says that we're at 70. Some places it's like I need a jacket and a sweater. Other places like, okay, it's a little warm over here.
Didn't we just have work done on that?
Yeah, they just did the I think they do it every 3 months, this cleaning the filters and replacing filters and making sure everything's working. But because of where the heating vents are within the building, they're not evenly dispersed. There's still always going to be some cold spots. And in the summer, it would be hot spots.
It was my understanding that when we had them in last year, which was before your time, right, Megan, but it seemed to me like we had that all gone through and they made some major changes in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what work was done. I just know of the placement of the vents. It's not incredibly even throughout the building. And it doesn't look like they added any new ones. But I can check with Joy and other staff and see if they know what. The book drop, we're having a little bit of trouble when it's really rainy out. The books are getting a little bit wet if the door, this is the alleyway book drop, if the door doesn't close completely. Sometimes stuff can get a little bit wet. Not enough that we need a brand new book drop just for that, but it is something that we're watching in case we do.
Has it always done that, or is that
probably? I don't know.
Oh,
I know it's a thing that happens,
sure.
especially in rainy places.
Yes, and the way the wind blows. And
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
For passive programming, for our take and make kits for December, we had 3 different ones that we gave out, and we probably gave out at least 70 packets total. We had a couple people try to come back after we had ran out and want some more, because one family, the kids really enjoyed making the little yarn hats, and they wanted to make some more for relatives.
Oh.
But we didn't have any more of the rings left, so we told them what they could use instead. We gave out packets of activity packets for Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and New Year's Eve. They seem to go well. People were excited to have them. They always are. Sometimes it doesn't matter exactly what it is. They're just happy to have something to do. The week of Christmas, we had a little mini scavenger hunt that kids could find a gingerbread cutout in the building and then get a bag of books. The books were provided by the Friends of the Library. And we had several families come in that hadn't been in for a while. They were just excited to kind of be in the library again. And Joy is like, I haven't seen you in like a couple years. And they really liked taking a whole bag of books home with them, which usually was about 4 or 5 books in a bag. For the new building, I do have a draft of the RFP, the request for proposal for an architect, ready, but the city would like to put that on hold for a couple months for various reasons. So that's what we're doing. Just waiting on that.
So is that a personnel issue of just other things that are taking
I
priority?
think it is. The city manager has some other higher priorities for a few months. What they are exactly, I'm not sure.
So maybe it would be good to find out a little bit of a timeline with that, because the few months is sort of vague and few months can kind of stretch out into the fall, maybe.
I'm hoping March or April, and I
Yeah.
will get on him about that.
Yeah.
But it also does give me a little bit more time to know the community a little better and potential sites and what we would need. So that it's good both ways, but
Yeah.
I'd rather move on it too.
And didn't you also report before, or maybe to the council, that you had met with the previous vendor who did the needs assessment?
And that was the architect that did the
the FFA group.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was that helpful for you?
Yeah, they're a great group. And they've been emailing me every few months saying where we're at. And the city manager and I are meeting with the president of LBCC on the 24th to discuss if there's any potential for any partnership there. So I guess that kind of is with the new building. That meeting got changed, so I added in. For grants, the Ready to Read grant that we were granted, I use that word so much, that we were granted from the Oregon State Library for 2022. Actually, I had it that it hadn't quite arrived, but it just showed up on Tuesday. So that is waiting to be deposited. Most of that money is going to go to the summer reading program and then to update some of our children's collections. There's a lot of grants opening for applications this month. So I'm just seeing which ones are worth my time to do and which ones are relevant to us. That is all I have for the report.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Don?
No.
Okay. On to the fun one, the fiscal report.
So I am also Brandon today.
Nice.
So he just wanted to make sure that you know that he added in a lot of the bill payments that weren't there last time. So some of it is more of the money has been spent. And then he wanted to point out the finance charge for services, very close to the page 11 of your packet, towards the end of the spreadsheet.
The finance charge for services?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just wanted to point out that still that was mostly the beginning of the year charge, and it shouldn't be moving too much. I think he pointed that out last time as well, but that's the only line that he pointed out to me and said that y'all might be interested in that.
So that's the administrative fee that we pay the city for what they do for you?
Most of that charge is for the software Springbrook, which is our payroll, personnel, timesheet, and all that.
Okay.
And if there's any other questions about the finance report, I can ask him next week.
Well, Megan, I have a question relative to the anticipated $900,000.
I have no update about that either way, if we got it or not. I don't know yet.
I thought Brandon said we did get it.
It said we were anticipating getting it, but I'm not sure if it's
I don't
actually
think we
arrived.
Did get it yet.
Yeah, that was the same response we got last month.
Yeah, I don't know anything more since then. So I don't know where it is. It's in the mail.
Yeah, that could
One
explain
of
it.
those.
I know for the Ready to Read grant, that was in the mail for about 3 weeks. Even though like 2 days before it actually arrived, they said, "Oh wow, we just finally got it, and we're sending it out." It's like, you've said that a while ago.
Okay, is that it?
That is it for the finance that I have.
Okay, so then we need statistics.
Not sure if I
And
I apparently attached the wrong one. That's fun.
so
Let me see if I can find it. I had a fun time trying to put the packet together because it kept changing fonts and changing documents on me. Where is it hiding? I don't know. And if I can find it, Legia can go print it for me, but not sure where it went. I'm not sure where it disappeared to. I know I will.
somehow it's always harder to find if you're somebody's waiting on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've noticed that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happened to me a few times. And then you go, oh, duh.
It's one that I had to change the name on, and I'm not sure where it went. Well, I can just pull up the original. I will attach it for next time for sure, but
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to take a lot of time to find it. Just maybe do it next month.
yeah, I was
It's just
gonna
it's
see
just nice to see some numbers that say this is what's going on, and
yeah, I was gonna see if I could pull up the
Yeah,
original numbers, but Here.
let's just go ahead and
okay.
go. Oh, did you find it?
No,
Okay, let's just wait and
but they did go up about 20% over the November numbers.
okay.
But we were open more days than we had been in November because of illness and holidays and all of that happening in November.
Maybe this is a good time for me to ask you a question.
Yeah.
If there's any plan, are there any plans to change the library hours to where we don't have to wait till noon for it to open? For people like me that want to get in earlier.
On Tuesdays, we are open at 10.
I know you are, and I wait till Tuesday.
I have put in a request for that. I was told that the circulation stats need to continue going up. So I'm hoping if the January stats are up again, then we can add, we're looking at Wednesday morning.
That'd be
So
great.
do we have a threshold for how high stats need to go?
I was not given a particular number.
So could you give a number? I mean, you know what's going up and maybe have an idea or an opinion about what would be reasonable so that you could like hand the ball to the city manager and say, look, it's time or something like that.
I would think that breaking the 2,000 items checked out a month would be enough. And I think
Yeah.
we were very close to that for December.
Maybe he just needs a little bit of education as to what's better. What does better mean?
Yeah. But I'd like to see over 2,000 items checking out. And
And
you just need to read some more.
Huh?
Just read some more. Check out some more books each.
Yeah, check out more books. I already check out a lot.
So that goes for Maisie too.
Okay, let's go to the library. Did you need to talk a little bit more about the policy manual update for?
I can, but basically, City Council
Yeah,
unanimously
you already
agreed
mentioned
to
that.
do the updates.
Yeah, okay.
And then, yeah, starting it tomorrow, basically, with staff.
Okay, we need to do a discussion on future budget requests, it looks
Well,
like.
going
Whoops,
back
sorry, Don.
one step on that, if we could, on page 5, I have a bit of confusion about some of the verbiage that's in there. On the second paragraph, it says about city versus community. The next paragraph says you need to be a city resident to get a free library card. I don't have my glasses. Change the proof of home address to say current. That was my understanding that those cards were available to individuals that owned property within the city. That's not what it says.
Right now, what we are doing is asking for a utility bill within the city limits. So basically, if you pay City of Sweet Home water bill, that's what we're asking for right now. And I don't think the current one says anything about just property.
Was my understanding has been in the past years that residents of the community, which extends beyond the city limits of Sweet Home, where if they had property, such as I do, in the commercial area in Sweet Home, on anywhere within Sweet Home, they're also eligible for those library cards and so on.
There was not anything like that written in the previous policy manual, so I don't think it's addressed in the manual. We just
I think it should be.
Yeah. And we can do that for the next time we update, but right now it can just be a working policy.
Give you an example. I own part of the main street in Sweet Home, which is very good commercial property. And I live outside. Holly is considered outside limits. And pay taxes in that. And it has been in the past that people that own property within the city limits were eligible for those benefits from the library. That does not address that in here.
Right.
And it needs to.
Yeah, and I don't believe it was not addressed previously either. So we can either do it as a working policy or do another update to this, but I would prefer to do it as a working policy until we look at this again, probably next December. So I'd like to go over the policy manual probably at least once a year, so we find little things like this that need to be updated.
Okay. Anything else, Don?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So the new business, I just have a discussion about future budget requests. So it is almost budget season. I'm not sure. It's Brandon's favorite time of year. He says it's like Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
We have our general budget, and then we were asking for the general fund budget, where each department was told to ask of things they would like to have, not necessarily going to get, but would like to have, and then it goes through a series of approvals. So I'm looking for ideas from all of you. I do have two, and they are things that could move with us if we and when we get a new building. So I'm looking at the possibility of a new outside book drop that could accommodate both books and media. So there's like 2 slots on it. And then it would come with a bin that is has a built-in cover for rain protection. And then that would be placed somewhere around the outside of the building. I would need to talk to Public Works and see where a good place would be, but actually on the street, so it's not in our tiny little alleyway. So it's easier to drive up to. But right now, our media is supposed to go in the drop by our front door, and that is not wheelchair or accessible at all. So technically, we tell you need to return your media to that drop. You can't get to it after hours. Our ADA access is through the alley as well.
Right.
So that's one thing I'm asking for. It's about around $10,000 with installation and delivery and all of that. And then the other thing I was asking for, which would be nice, but we'll see. It's a book bike. Corvallis Public has these. You can bike that has kind of looks like a delivery bike. It has a container on the back that then you could fill it with about 200 books. Think they say. And then you could take that to parks. You could be in parades with it.
Oh, cool.
Farmers, I know like Corvallis uses theirs to go to the farmers market, but it's not, in the parking lot next door. It's a little bit further away. It's like a blow. So that would just be something that could be nice to have. I think we would definitely get use out of it. It's about $3,000 with a power assist, so you don't have to pedal the entire thing. But the manufacturer of those is not currently manufacturing this year because of COVID concerns. So it's not something that could happen anyway really soon. But it's just something that I think would be nice that I asked put down. So I've come to you looking for other ideas of what you think the library could use and needs and all of that could be something that could move with us if we do have a new building.
So those are capital outlay.
Yeah. And absolutely not guaranteed in any way.
So I was just wondering about any upgrades to the building, because we're clearly going to be in the building for a while, and it's an old building. So and I'm not expecting you to answer this. I'm just posing it as, is there some capital outlay that we really need for the building to last in there for another 2 to 3 years? Keep staff comfortable, keep things working,
Public Works has looked at the building, and as far as I know, there's no big concerns for the next few years. That doesn't mean with any building, the furnace or whatever could go out at any time, but that's standard. It could happen here.
But you haven't come up with anything that
there's nothing that is in dire need of maintenance. There's just these little fixes that I've been bringing and telling you guys about, just so you're aware. But there hasn't been anything really big. We would like a new circulation desk.
I was just going to say, what about the headquarters? What could be done there?
So we've looked at the circulation desks, and to quote a staff member kindly, these are all horrible. Shouldn't quite use that word. But all the ones that are available for shipping that aren't custom made are not that much better than what we have.
Yeah.
And it would be about 10 to 15,000 to have something about the size of what we have.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at that, the staff that use it the most are like, it's not worth it for a few years. If we're going to be here another 10 years, that would be different.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what we're anticipating anyway.
And what about your office?
I'm fine. I would love an outside window, but I don't think that would keep with the integrity of the building. The whole building might fall down, which I guess could hasten the new building.
Well, what about the counter there, Megan? Number one, you have the city resources and people in there that have the capabilities of building one. The other one is the high school going ahead and constructing one out of their construction class. Has that been explored any? Or?
It hasn't to that degree, especially not the high school construction class. But I think we're okay with what we have for now, based on what is available. We could get, generic desks like these or something, but they're not going to be as useful as what we have. And the staff is okay with it. I gave them the option of asking for it, and they thought about it for like 2 days and looked at what was available and like, we'll just wait. Because nothing's broken. It's just not the best ergonomic. But we do at least have one desk that's a little higher and then one desk that we can serve kids and any ADA patrons that come in.
Okay.
And I do have one new topic that I did not put on, if you're okay discussing. Is this the good time to meet? Do we want to meet later in the day, earlier? Is this a good time for everybody to meet? It's just a generic question.
Preferably, I would prefer Wednesday myself.
I just know Tuesdays are off the table.
Pardon?
Tuesdays are off the table for sure. There's a city council every other week.
I have 2 other board meetings on Tuesdays. It's a thing, and
I have one, so.
Yeah.
And Charlene had one.
I don't have a problem with moving it to, this time is okay. I'm retired, so I don't have constraints. And Wednesday typically is not a full day. If it would be like the second Wednesday of the month, I don't know if you're thinking of changing the week.
That's up to you guys. I'm just proposing the question.
I think for me, I'm fine with the current time, but I also don't mind if it gets changed to a Wednesday. Or I think for me, the sort of 4:30 works well because I do work 8 to 5, and so it doesn't overlap with my work schedule too much.
Actually, Jamie would probably be the one that would have the biggest concern because the 3 of us are retired, and except that Tuesday is off the table.
Oh, and now that I'm thinking about it, I work in Corvallis on Wednesdays. So it would be a lot harder to get back here. I kind of have a hybrid schedule currently where I'm working at home Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So it's a little bit easier for me on those days to get.
So what about the time? Is that more of an issue than?
I know for our council member that would like to be here a little bit later would be good. But she'll go with the majority. And then if we have a new board member coming on, they could have some different requirements, and we can table this until then too.
We might want to wait until the new one comes on.
Well, make
a decision.
I guess the other consideration is, what is your usual end of work day time?
Normally it would be 5, but as long as it's not Tuesday, I can adjust anything.
Okay.
So it's fine with me.
Well, I'm flexible.
Yeah, let's wait until we get our new member and then maybe bring that back and kind of discuss that and give us all a little time to, I'm one that needs to think about things for a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up without
Yeah,
remembering to put it on
sure.
the agenda.
Okay, sounds good.
And then what would be good for me is if you guys gave me any agenda topics for the next meeting that you would like to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure what, most of this has just been what I've come up with.
Mhm.
If you guys have anything, just let me know
Okay.
at the previous meeting, or just email or stop by the library and let me know.
Okay.
I know next time we will be talking about fine free and if we're going to continue that or not.
Okay.
But if you have other topics, let me know now, future, whenever.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Anyone? All right. It is, looks like it's 5:16 and we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.